Okay, this is just going to be a quick study of how I paint the lips. And I use this oil and acrylic canvas paper to do my studies. I don't know if you can see it right there, but it's this pad right here. And it's a thick paper, especially suited for painting with oil or acrylic. And I'm using water-soluble oils. It look like this. And I like them because for beginners, they're really easy to use, and I really like them because you can clean up with soap and water, and that really saves time. You don't have to use all those harsh chemicals like turpentine. Yeah, those type of chemicals, I don't like using those at all. And I'm using synthetic brushes also. And if you need help drawing the female face, I did this book right here, and it's called The Lost Art, Volume 2, How to Draw Fantasy Female Faces. And it's a basic book for beginners on how to draw the female face. And in there I have various ways of drawing the female lips. So let's get started here. And the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to work on the bottom lips. So I'm going to take, I'm using brown. It's a brown color, but it's called burnt umber. And I'm going to do the bottom lips in that color. Well, I'm going to do all of the lips. And what I do with this is I basically do like a very rough outline of the lips. It doesn't have to be real perfect. Just sort of do an outline, and this is going to be your darker shade of red. And in case I didn't mention it, these lips are going to be glossy red. So I'm just outlining them. Outlining the bottom. And like I said in my book, I show you how to draw the lips, and in the lips, that section shows how to shade them in, where you put the shading on them. But I really like doing these little practice sessions because anytime I'm going to do a large painting, I usually do a little practice session on whatever area. I'll do a practice session of the face or whatever area I feel that I want it to. I want the painting to look a certain way. I have the look in my mind the way that I want it exactly to look like. So yeah, I'll just do a little quick study and to make sure that this is exactly how I want it to come out. That way when I start my larger painting of my subject, I know exactly what it's going to look like, pretty much how I'm going to do it, and it's sort of like planning it out. I never just get my canvas and just start painting. That's something I don't really do. I usually have a really good idea of, when I'm doing a large finished painting, I have a really good idea of what I want it to look like, exactly how I want the colors, everything. And one of the ways of doing that is by doing my studies. So okay, here we've outlined the shadowed areas in this burnt umber color, and then now we're gonna wipe off the excess brown from the brush using a paper towel. And I'm going to pick up some red from my palette right here. And the red is just a regular red that I'm using. In fact, it's called Candium Red Medium that I'm using for the lips. And here you're going to use your blending techniques that I showed in one of my previous videos, where I talked about practicing your blending techniques. Well, this is where they come in handy is to blend this in. Just like that, we're going to blend them in. And I'm using like very little paint here. I'm not picking up big giant globs. Just for the tip of the brush, basically what I'm doing. Just enough paint to sort of cover the tip of the brush. Of course, if you want to paint, it's totally up to you on what style you want to use. If you want to use a lot of thick paint or not, or if you want to paint real thin. But this is basically wet on wet medium that I'm using here. It's not the dry method or the layering method where you let it dry out. You let each layer dry out and then you put another layer on top of it. I've seen a lot of people do that. And I used to paint that way, but it's very time consuming. So I've sort of switched to doing this type of painting when I'm painting with oil, as I am now with these water soluble oils. So we're taking the red and we're blending it into the brown area, which is the shadowed area of the lip. And here for the bottom lip, we're just going to cover it all up and carefully blending it in right here. And working the color, the red color, into the corners. Very gently. Now, if you want to, the lips have these tiny little like wrinkles in them. And if you want to do that, that's fine. You'll just use a little bit of brown like that. But these lips are kind of small. And this fine detail like this is really not noticeable because if you're doing like I do larger paintings, and then when I paint the lips on there, the paintings will be viewed from far away. So really finite detail, the viewer's not really going to notice that unless that's something that you're going for and you want them to notice that. But you can do that. You can paint in the really fine wrinkles or folds that are on the lips, but you don't have to if you don't. I feel that it's not necessary if you don't want to, unless you want to be highly detailed. Okay, right here we're going to do the inside of the mouth. Right here, the inside I'm doing, and the inside of the mouth has a lot of shadow area on it. So I'm just going to completely blacken it out. And this area here, you can do it before you do the lips, or you can do it after, like I'm doing right here. It's up to you, whichever you find easiest. And you'll find that out by doing your little practice sessions like this. This is where you learn all the little things that will make your job easier as a painter. Instead of learning it while you're painting, I feel it's a really good idea to know these little tricks or little tips. Know them ahead of time. That way when you sit down to do your completed painting, you know exactly what you're doing. You know exactly how the paint's going to behave. Now we're going to take a little bit of white and mix it into an off-white, and we're just going to dab it in here to show the teeth. And the teeth in here are going to be, they're going to be covered, they're going to be in shadow, by very heavy shadow because of the lips. But so that way they'll be in gray. And you're just barely going to see them. You're not really going to notice them that much, or they're not going to stand out that highly because they're in the mouth and they're set very deeply in the mouth. And there you go. You're just basically suggesting them. A suggestion. They don't have to be perfect shaped or anything. And then for the absolute highlight on these red lips, we're gonna add the white to make the lip look very shiny, and it's gonna be a very abrupt application of the white, and that will make them look, give them this glossy look. So here we go. I have all pure white on the tip of my brush, and I'm just putting it in there. I'm just dabbing it right on top. And these will make the lip look very shiny. And we put a few up here. But basically that's all there is to it. To painting the lips with a very shiny red, if you want to make them very shiny red. And I'm just doing a little bit of outline right here. And again, I apologize for the light. It seems to be going cloudy and bright off and on. And right here, I'm just putting a little bit of definition in the corners. But yes, that's all there is to it. I hope you enjoy this video, and please give it a thumbs up and a like, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.